You have to wonder, are there some crazy new market trends to discuss this week? And is it possible that the Dark Jedi, Aries Tarrington, will have another live show this coming week? Let's dive into all of this right now. All right, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Market Value Chart Show right here at 6 Scale Cantina. So first off, those of you that are looking for the live show replay from this past Saturday night, unfortunately, I had to go ahead and take that video down, which is why you're getting my weekly podcast show earlier this week here on Monday morning. So apparently I'm growing so fast, I had a little bit of trolling going on over there. Unfortunately, I kept the live chat replay enabled. I didn't go ahead and scan it. Didn't have any moderators in here yet. Didn't know that you really needed to for YouTube, but I guess when you're getting between 140 to 190 concurrent viewers, it's probably a good idea. But unfortunately, I had to go ahead and take it down since it was tagged inappropriate. So, but you have this podcast here today, and I also will be live once again this coming week, but we're going to be live on Friday night, baby, because I have been for the summer hours. We have to go ahead and change, and while we had 170 concurrent viewers from this past Saturday, it was absolutely a bang up live stream. And even when we were signing off and everybody was going ahead and giving their things about their channel, I still had between 150 and 160 concurrent viewers. But I think now that we're starting to take some of the masks off, which is really nice here, and because of the COVID thing starting to get a little bit better, and it's becoming very, very warm and nice sunny days in the summer, I think Saturdays at 6 p.m. We're just going to take a break from that until September. We'll go ahead and be back, and we're going to start doing it on Friday nights. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing it as a tag team with the Man of Hot Collectibles. So this week, you've got 6 Scale Cantina and the Market Value Chart Show live at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then the very next week, you're also going to have the Man of Hot Collectibles live at 9 p.m. Eastern, and especially for his 1-year celebration episode that I will be on. And then the week after that, you'll get my show, the Market Value Chart Show. And then the week after that, you'll get the Man of Hot Collectibles, and then get me again. So we're going to tag team it every Friday night. I think that'll be good for the summer hours anyway. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. So again, make sure you're there this coming Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern. I really look forward to hanging out with you all again. And yes, I will have a whole army of moderators in there for the live chat, and we're going to have a good time. And some of you that were really looking forward to some of the hopeful and encouraging conversation that we were going to be having on this past show, we're going to run back some of those again, including some other ideas that came in from some of you. We're going to have a great time. I absolutely can't wait for it this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. So the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys continues to just be very crazy right now. Again, I've talked about that whole cold front for Star Wars from where the sequels were and so many different opinions and things going on with that, and then all the big wave of Baby Yoda and Grogu and the Mandalorian, and you got hot coming in, so excited, and you got the cold and boom, and you got all this stuff going around. Let's go ahead, and as we do with every Market Outlook edition of the Market Value Chart Show, let's go ahead and start at 6scalecantina.com and see exactly what is going on within the biggest movers section first. And I think with this episode, I'm going to go ahead and mix in the biggest mover section along with the market value chart so we can get some different things going all together at the same time. So you can see what the price is right away. And then we can go ahead and go back and look at some of the current auctions and discussion about that as well. So let's go ahead and see what's going on within the biggest movers section on 6scalecantina.com. And you could see right up first again, the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary, Darth Vader. This figure has now entered the $350 tier range. It actually hit that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market value chart and see exactly where this Darth Vader is hitting. And I do believe it's right at $350. And you can see right here, highlighted on the screen, $350 and rising. Wow. Now, interestingly, going down a little bit, you can see this Darth Vader not in the 40th anniversary packaging. This figure is right now, it trended down, 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 while that was up on pre-order and then also in stock, the 40th anniversary version. And it's holding steady at $337. Do I think that this figure is eventually also going to rise up into the $400 tier range? I really do. I think that what's happening here, though, is the 40th anniversary packaging, that version, is rising up a little bit quicker. But I think as this Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary one continues to rise, it will carry this one with it, this MMS 452. So that's where this is sitting right now, this Darth Vader. $350 and rising. Let's go ahead and take a look at some recent trends and auctions for this figure. So pulling this up on the screen, you can see back from May 14th, $360 on a listing. Wow. Let's go ahead and go to another one. And pulling this up on the screen, you could see that back from May 13th with 38 bids, $356. Wow, not including the $20 in shipping and also taxes. Very, very good feedback. Almost 9,000, perfect. Very, very interesting with this figure. Let's go ahead and go to another one. I'm pulling this up onto the screen for you to see. And this one ended on May 9th. $340 with 17 bids. Another decent seller feedback, not including the $18.30 in shipping. Wow. Absolutely crazy with this figure. And also pulling up just the regular first edition of the Empire Strikes Back, where I just showed you where it's sitting within the market value chart at 6scalecantina.com. You can see right here, $332.24 US with 54 bids. So certainly a demand for this. And I think right now what's going to happen with this particular figure is, you're just going to see you're going to see it be carried with the Empire Strikes Back 40th anniversary one in that packaging. And at the end of the day, this particular figure, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be, about a $450 tier range figure. I really do believe. You can just look at this up on the screen, and I was actually just messing around with this just yesterday, actually, from this recording. And this is an outstanding piece. Everything from the heaviness of the cape and all the craftsmanship to it, and how the way that his armor shines, and that helmet, and the electronics is pretty cool actually as well. This is a dynamite figure, and that display base is a pretty hefty display base that we get, for this for sure. So, yeah, I'm pretty, happy with this figure in my collection, and I think that a lot of other collectors would be. And I think, long term, even if they come out with that Return of the Jedi Darth Vader that we were speaking about during this live show, and some of you didn't get to see that, we're going to talk a little bit more about that this coming Friday on our next live show. I would certainly not be looking to get rid of my Empire Strikes Back Darth Vader's. It's very special. I love that display base. I mean, it's very accurate to the way Darth Vader was in Empire Strikes Back. So again, I think that this has a long-term holding value for sure. Let's go ahead and go back to 6scalecantina.com and away from this pretty gorgeous looking Darth Vader for sure. And here you go. Here is the man, the myth, the legend, Luke Skywalker. And once again, this figure has entered the biggest mover section. If you remember some time ago, maybe about a month and a half ago, something to that effect. Maybe it was 2 months ago now. This particular figure breached the $400 tier range and was trending up very, very slightly. And then it kind of leveled off right around, $402, $405, something to that effect. And this particular figure is starting to rise again. And if you really look at what's on the screen within the biggest mover section, you see a lot of legacy characters right in front of you. Look how many original trilogy characters are right there when you got Luke. Then you've got Leia. Then you've got Han. Then you've got Obi-Wan. And of course we have Grand Moff Tarkin down this list a little bit when we go ahead and go down. He's here somewhere down this list. And Chewbacca. Chewbacca is starting to show signs. The A New Hope Chewbacca is starting to show signs of rising up as well. Is that figure going to make it on the biggest mover section or trending up within the market value chart? So, we're going to have to keep an eye on it. But a lot of the original trilogy figures are really starting to fetch high secondary market prices for Star Wars. But let's go ahead and take a look at, just some recent things with this Luke Skywalker here. And going ahead and pulling up a recent auction for Luke, or a listing. You can see right here, pulling this up on the screen. Very reputable seller, Hawk Wars Toys. Always has his prices right at where the trends are, just about. Really good seller. $485. Not even a best offer over here. $485 straight up, not including the $23.11 in shipping, just back from May 11th and not including taxes. These particular figures for Hot Toys are really, really fetching high secondary market prices. And when you look at this figure, this is not exactly the best head sculpt that Hot Toys ever produced, and this was very, very early on. And, this is one of those figures where some of the times, when you turn a certain ways, it does really capture, Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, and then some of the other times, and a lot of the times, it actually doesn't. But it's still, for me, one of my most favorite figures within my collection, and one of the most iconic looks for Luke Skywalker, original 12-back look here. That whole Tatooine scene and this outfit, just utterly fantastic. And it's no wonder to me that, this figure, along with so many of the original trilogy figures, are fetching just really, really high secondary market prices. Let's go ahead and actually look at the market value chart and see exactly where Luke is right now. And I'm going to because I clicked out of it, I'm going to click that current value column arrow. Remember to always click that a couple of times so that you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures, so it's easier to navigate whenever you go ahead and use the market value chart on 6scalecantina.com. Well, let's go ahead and see if we can track something down with Luke in that $400 tier range rather quickly over here. And you can see here up on the screen, $403. And this figure, I forgot to go ahead and put an arrow on it, but it absolutely is rising. And actually, it's higher than $403. I just didn't get a chance to click the save on this for Luke yet. But he's somewhere around, I think now, 415, 400, between 450, around $415, I believe this Luke is right now. And it's absolutely crazy. And the same thing with this Chewbacca. While he's actually not rising yet, I still need more data for that. It's showing signs. Enough things are coming in where, you know, this is going to move over possibly to $409. And when you go ahead and look here, here's an original trilogy character. The Leia Empire Strikes Back Hoth, $428 and rising. Let's continue to go up to some of these other OT figures up here on the market value chart. Han Solo A New Hope just recently entered, you know, from my last couple of shows, the $500 tier range and rising. And is this figure going to go ahead and keep inching its way up the $500 tier range? I really believe that that is a strong possibility. And right above it, you see Leia from A New Hope, $510 and rising now. You know, she was low like where Han was. I think it was like 501 or something like that. Now she's at $510 and rising. You can look at this Luke Skywalker, Return of the Jedi Endor Deluxe, $524 and rising. And I can tell you right now that that non-deluxe version of Luke Skywalker Endor version also looks like it's going to be rising, along with the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker right now. That's also looking like that is going to be rising. Scrolling up ahead of it, look here. Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope, $535 and rising. Let's go ahead and actually pull up some of the recent auctions here for some of these original trilogy figures. So right here, Leia, A New Hope. You can see, pulling this up on the screen, just back from May 13th, $518.62 with 32 bids, not including the near $25 in U.S. shipping, and of course, not including taxes. Wow. Again, pretty reputable seller. I buy stuff online, 33. Let's go ahead and go to another Leia. And this Leia, New Hope, actually has problems. This Leia, okay? And what I mean by the problems is, that was my note there, $430 with 16 bids. 3 feedback. Okay, that's a lot of change. That's a lot of change for 3 feedback. And it still went for $430. Wow. Absolute insanity within the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. I'll go ahead, since I mentioned the Bespin Leia. You can just look at a recent auction from her, just back from May 10th. 23 bids. $475.23. Wow, not including the near $25 in shipping for this figure. This figure is inching very, very close to the $500 tier range. Will it hit the $500 tier range? We're going to have to keep an eye on it. But I've talked about these Leias before. You're seeing the other 2 Leias, the Leia Endor, and especially the Bespin Leia right now. They're really starting to show signs to start inching up. And remember, these Leias took time. Even this Leia Hoth, it took some time to go ahead and cook slowly in the crock pot and inch its way up and catch its way up to A New Hope Leia, which was also, quite frankly, going ahead and inching its way up. And I think that that's what's going to happen, really, with all the Leias. Let's go ahead and take a look at Han. You know, recently, I mean, Han's just been selling in the $500 tier range over and over and over again. And you can pick up that 2-pack sometimes in the $800 tier range, and sometimes this figure is selling at $600. Here's one that sold lower than that, $560 on May 11th with 17 bits, not including the $23.60 in shipping and the taxes. This is a $600 figure right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with Old Ben. Bringing Old Ben up on the screen. You can see right here. Back from May 10th, $599.20, not including the near $25 in shipping, US. Wow, and taxes. Let's go ahead and go to another Ben. Crazy with these original trilogy figures. Same one I pulled up. I do apologize on that. Let me go to this one here. Back from May 16th, 8 bids, right at $500. Wow. Free shipping, not including taxes. Absolutely crazy. Let's go ahead and go to this Obi-Wan. And this one here, with poor feedback in a way, not exactly very poor, but it has like, you're going to be spending $455 and you got 93.8%, which is 37 feedback. So not necessarily poor, but when you're spending almost $400 to $500 on a figure, not exactly the most reassuring thing for a figure of this magnitude, and it still went for $455 with 18 bids, not including the $11.75 in shipping. Wow. So again, like I said, not bad feedback there, but kind of when it gets low like that, and you got low numbers anyway, 37, they don't usually bid up that high. Just saying. Let's go to another Obi-Wan. Got lots of Obi-Wans to show you. I want to show you because we haven't talked about this in a while. Back from May 16th, $514.21, 25 bids. Wow, not including, it looks like I'm reading on the screen, near $52 of US shipping. This figure, all day long, is selling within the $500 tier range. Wow, with these original trilogy figures, and some of them are really good, and some of them look like this, where you have some head sculpts that maybe could be improved today, the way Hot Toys are doing things today, but it just doesn't matter. There is a high demand for original trilogy figures for Star Wars Hot Toys. So you have to wonder, is it possible that Hot Toys is seeing what's going on with the original trilogy figures and also some of these legacy characters, and they are going to go ahead and drop maybe some reissues for a couple of these figures? Is it possible that we can get a new version to come out soon with some of these figures? And you have to wonder if they're going to just sprinkle something in a little bit here and there. Is there any hope for more original trilogy figures, legacy characters? And I say, yes, there absolutely is. Look, even when you're looking at this head sculpt over here, it is still fetching such high prices within the secondary market for Star Wars. And when you go ahead and look at the market value chart at 6scalecantina.com, and you're seeing all of these prices and all of these biggest movers on the screen over here, you have to wonder who at Hot Toys is realizing this when you look at, first of all, Darth Vader, an original trilogy character. Luke Skywalker, an original trilogy character. Darkside Anakin, a great legacy character. Okay? And Anakin, technically wasn't the original trilogy because Darth Vader is Anakin, and especially was Anakin at the end of Return of the Jedi. Leia, A New Hope. Han Solo from A New Hope. Ben Kenobi from A New Hope. You look at Qui-Gon Jinn, another legacy character. You can go ahead and scroll down. You've got Grand Moff Tarkin trending up. okay, a legacy character, an original trilogy character, a Rogue One character, a Bad Batch character, so on and so forth. Here is the Emperor in all his glory on the chair, and the Emperor is trending up. There's no demand, there is very high demand. Luke, Endor, Deluxe, going up in there. Wow. You can look at this all day long. Leia Hoth, Anakin regular, so on and so forth. These two Leias, Leia Endor, Leia Bespin. So there is so much right now for Star Wars Hot Toys. And again, these figures fetch very high prices. So what is Hot Toys going to do with these particular figures? So right now, what's going on is there is a lot of attention in the new content that Disney is putting out for The Mandalorian, the upcoming book of Boba Fett, and so on and so forth. And really, when you look at this from a business perspective, it's not just that Hot Toys is concentrating on where the money is. With that license that they have with Disney to produce toys for their Star Wars franchise and for their upcoming content, there is a certain, agreement of what characters they're going to come out with, and also planning characters to come out for their upcoming content, because, Disney and, Lucasfilm, Star Wars, they use a lot of these action figures and toys that Hot Toys will come out with, or Hasbro will come out with, or Cotobianca will come out with, or Gentle Giant will come out with, or this company will come out with, that company will come out with. They use that stuff as marketing for their content. Don't think that they don't. They're just not like, okay, we'll give you a license and, and then, that's great and we get a cut out of it to let you use Star Wars stuff. They absolutely use it as a marketing mechanism. And where Disney wants right now is obviously a lot of attention on that momentum for The Mandalorian. And you have to remember, they're not coming out with The Mandalorian this year. Now, it's going to come out next year. They're going to go ahead, they're going to piggyback that, piggyback off of the Book of Boba Fett, for live action anyway. So I think that that's part of it. And then, but you can see what Disney is doing and what Jon Favreau is doing and what Dave Filoni is doing. They've given us so many characters in The Mandalorian. Just speaking about everything that everything that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have given us in The Mandalorian Season 1 and The Mandalorian Season 2. They have given us lots and lots of new characters and new content. And like Grogu eating those eggs from the frog lady, we keep eating and eating all these new characters and this awesome storyline and everything in here. And that's why you see, and I pulled it up on the screen, some of the figures that are up right now. And you see, Ahsoka from The Mandalorian. Okay, you're seeing, Grogu. You're seeing IG-11. You're seeing this Stormtrooper from The Mandalorian. These are a lot of Mandalorian figures already. You're seeing more Mandalorian figures. The Scout Trooper and Speeder Bike, the Blurrgs, and the OG Mando on the Blurrg, and Bo-Katan, and Boba Fett, and the Boba Fett Deluxe, and the Scout Trooper by himself, and so on and so forth. The Death Watch Mandalorian, the Dark Trooper, Moff Gideon, the Tusken Raider, so on and so forth, and of course the aforementioned a different show anyway, the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, and the Death Trooper from The Mandalorian, and the Incinerator Trooper from The Mandalorian, and the Remnant Trooper from The Mandalorian. All of these figures now, on Waitlist are sold out here at Sideshow. But the interesting thing here is that when you look at this, though, look at how many original trilogy type characters are mixed in with The Mandalorian. So, for instance, this Stormtrooper commander is a Mandalorian figure, but it's really, a remnant, if you may, of the original trilogy. And while this IG-11 is a Mandalorian character, it's from the same, robotic line of IG-88. People recognize this robot from the IG-88 from The Empire Strikes Back. And Boba Fett. Everybody knows Boba Fett. And Boba Fett was from where? The original trilogy. And, you see Luke, this is a sideshow Luke Skywalker, which is obviously selling really, really well. And then, they had Luke Skywalker appear in The Mandalorian Season 2 in the finale with R2-D2. Right below it appeared in the finale of The Mandalorian Season 2. And you even see some of the lore, and some of the stuff from the Clone Wars and mixing in a lot of the prequel stuff with that, where you have Ahsoka Tano that showed up in there. I believe that was episode 5 where she showed up in there, and then episode 6 was Boba Fett. It just kept getting more and more crazy and just absolutely fantastic, with this. So really, Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan is not an all new character. That's from back to Ahsoka Tano. If you're following the Clone Wars, for instance, a character from there. So what Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing is they are absolutely mixing in original trilogy, original legacy, original prequels, Clone Wars, legacy characters with what they are doing in The Mandalorian. So you're going to continue to get characters of this nature because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are not going to stop doing this. And part of the way that you set up some excitement for upcoming new content is you show R2-D2, is you show Luke Skywalker as they did. You bring in a character like a Boba Fett. You bring in a character like Bo-Katan. You bring in a character like Ahsoka Tano, who teases Grand Admiral Thrawn, okay? Which then makes you start thinking, does that mean they're going to bring in Ezra Bridger? Or does that mean that they're going to go ahead and do this? And then you see characters like the off-world Jawas. And you go ahead and you see R5-D4. And then you go ahead and see the Tusken Raider. So really, they could call that Tusken Raider a Mandalorian figure. But really, that's also an original trilogy figure. And really, that's also a sequels figure as well. So as far as there being no hope for original trilogy figures, we're going to continually get original trilogy figures on an ongoing basis. You need to look at this like if you ever collected 3 3/4 inch action figures from, like episode 1 or episode 2 or episode 3, or even from, The Force Awakens, for instance, or, Rogue One, or, those lines, you would get most of those figures. A large portion of them will be all the new characters from there. But they'll mix in a Darth Vader. They'll mix in a Bespin Luke. They'll go ahead and mix in a Boba Fett, in that line. You would get more of the actual movie that's coming out, but you actually would not get as many of the other ones, but they sprinkle a little bit in here, just like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are sprinkling a little bit of, fan service in here, and you need to. And it's not just fan service because it is the foundation. My microphone fell, but I'm not going to go ahead and pause this, even though it's pre-recorded. There we go. We got it good right there. But that's my point with this, is that, is it possible that we're never going to get another original trilogy figure besides Darth Vader and Boba Fett? And I say, no way. No way. We're absolutely going to. It's just that right now, they're going ahead and they're focusing on this, and there's going to be a lot to focus on because that wave is going to continue to ride. You have the Book of Boba Fett. You have the Mandalorian that's going to be coming out. You have the Obi-Wan series that's going to be coming out. Does the Obi-Wan series coming out means that there's no hope for any original trilogy or legacy figures? Of course there are. Maybe, especially some different variations. You got Hayden Christensen signed to that. You may even have Peter Cushing go ahead and they do that computer imagery again for that particular series. You're probably going to have Obi-Wan in there. Is it possible that somehow we get Darth Maul in this series. I don't know which way they're going to go with this. We can go on. We can get so on and so forth. Is it possible that C-3PO is going to show up in the in the Andor series, in the Obi-Wan series, in the Mandalorian series? And who knows? And the point is, yes, it is possible, and you're going to go ahead and get those figures, even some of the newer figures, such as the K2SO. Is it possible that figure shows up at a later time? Maybe after the first series with Andor, or maybe in a spin-off series, or maybe they're actually keeping it quiet and that character is going to show up in some place? Yeah, absolutely. You're going to get some of these characters again. And sometimes it'll be labeled as something like a different movie. Like, for instance, this Tusken Raider from the Mandalorian. But really, for all intents and purposes, with this Tusken Raider, you mean to tell me that we can't use this Tusken Raider because the box says Mandalorian for your original trilogy collection? I'm going to use this all day for a lot of things, actually, for in display for Star Wars for this. So at the end of the day, this is where the focus is. You think of it as they're coming out with a new movie, they're coming out with this, they're coming out with that, and then they are going to sprinkle things in, and you're also just going to get straight original trilogy figure releases. Yes. Are you still going to go ahead and get some legacy prequel figures? Yes. Are you still going to go ahead as they give you the Bad Batch? And really, the Bad Batch, you're going to have Cody coming in on the Bad Batch. Okay, they may. Is it possible that they go ahead and they sync the Rex release with the release of with the episode wherever Rex appears in? Don't think that Disney doesn't care about this, or Hot Toys doesn't care. Like, oh, that doesn't matter. Oh, yeah, Rex showed up today, but we're going to release this day. We really don't care about that. It means nothing to us. Is it possible that they may sync that? I don't know, but that could be a thing there as well that they're going to do with that. So they're going to go ahead and they're going to release some of these figures, but it's going to lay heavily on the book of Boba Fett, the Mandalorian, and a lot of that stuff, and then they will sprinkle in some of these original trilogy characters, legacy characters, prequels characters, and then just going back, like I'm saying, with if they're coordinating the release of Rex with Rex's appearance and Cody, being in the Bad Batch. It's a lot of Clone Wars stuff. Are we done with the Clone Wars? Or are we never going to see a 212? Are we never going to see an airborne trooper? Or are we never going to see the Clone Wars Obi-Wan? No, and no. I think actually we're going to go ahead and get a lot of those things. As a matter of fact, I think it'd be a poor move by Hot Toys with all of these stormtroopers that they have released through the years. And you have the clone trooper mold, essentially. You can go ahead and they can do very well with, continuing to spoon feed us some of these Clone Wars releases. Have some patience. These things are coming, for sure. There's going to be certain characters that are going to take, though, a little bit longer than others as things are coming out, such as perhaps this A New Hope Luke, and such as perhaps the A New Hope Han, and perhaps, the A New Hope Obi-Wan Kenobi. But at the end of the day, as we're getting all this stuff and building up a collection, is it possible that they're going to do something very special with this Luke, and with this Han, and with this Obi-Wan, and Chewbacca, and so on and so forth, with the 50th anniversary of Star Wars? And I say, yes, they absolutely will be doing that. It's going to be, legacy time, 50th anniversary time, and absolutely, these will happen again. Again, exercise some patience. Now, you have to wonder, would they just, depending on where they are and what they're doing, would they give you the same head sculpt. I don't know. I would think maybe they would improve upon it. Or maybe they would just, change the paint apps or something. But the fact of the matter is, would we ever get a reissue? Or do we ever get something like that? Yes. And then the other thing is with these things as well, is for these figures, they already have the molds. They already have the tooling. And with some clever paint applications and maybe some differences to the hair, they can absolutely just reissue any of these figures that are fetching high secondary market prices at any time if they need to fill the gap. Now, with everything upcoming on Disney Plus, I don't know how much of a gap they're actually going to have, because you have to think about that as well. Because when you're thinking about they'll just release these because this figure is fetching $600, this figure is fetching $800, they're just going to go ahead and do that. Well, what do they already have worked out with Disney? Because Disney is expecting certain releases at a certain time. Okay, that's called production scheduling. Okay, and then you'll also have capacity concerns when you're going ahead into a manufacturing facility. Okay, they have to plan all that production. And not just for one figure that you think that they need to re-release, or I think that they need to re-release, but other figures that Disney wants them to release. And other figures, quite frankly, that they want to release that they know are going to make exceptional amounts of money. For instance, like that Ahsoka Tano from The Mandalorian. And sometimes those are going to take some priority. But it's not just Star Wars as well. They also produce DC figures. They also produce some other figures. They also produce Marvel figures. And while it's a nice idea to think that they'll just go ahead and do that, that's why these also get sprinkled in as well. But, you have to wonder, is it possible that they're now understanding, or that they actually understand, like Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, that you need to sprinkle in a little bit of the foundational pieces to be able to keep that whole, collection community happy? And I say yes. Again, tune in to the live show this coming Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern, because we're going to go ahead and go over some of these figures that can be very, very likely and no-brainer releases for Star Wars Hot Toys when it comes to tooling and when it comes to molds that they already have and things that they've already put out with that can go ahead and fit this bill, but they have to plan it. They have to plan it within their production schedule. They have to consider capacity, and it has to all be worked out, not just with Star Wars, but with everything they go ahead and do. It would be great if they can go ahead and just use the Force and make it happen, but like Han Solo said, that's not how the Force works. So, anyway, that's what I think over there for these particular figures. Now, let us go ahead and let's go back to 6scalecantina.com and go back to the biggest removers section and move on a little bit. We talked about a lot of these OT figures already. Let's go ahead and actually let's move to a legacy character. So you see up on the screen, we have the Darkside Anakin, which is, just trending up and up and up and up. And so just pulling up some Darkside data, which is just real interesting to me. This was actually ongoing at the recording. And here you go. $810 with 20 bids. Wow, just back from May 16th when I recorded this video, not including the $22.50 in shipping and then taxes. So you can go ahead and do the math and see what people are paying for this Darkside Anakin. And if you don't think that Hot Toys is looking at this, and if you don't think that Hot Toys is considering a 2-pack for this, and they're maybe not talking to Disney about something right now, we're going to go ahead and bring this up on the live show with the panel this coming Friday, again at 9 p.m. Eastern. But I'm telling you, there could be something brewing over here. Look at these prices. Absolutely crazy for sure. And, you know, you can look at some other things. Let's look at, let's see if these are both the same. These Anakins. Okay, here's another one with, this one's actually different, ongoing as well. Revenge of the Sith Darkside Anakin, unopened. 1 day and 16 hours left. $660 with 52 watchers. 52 watchers. Wow. And again, this figure is fetching a lot of money within the secondary market. I'm going to go ahead and immediately go to, before we go back to the chart, you know, the OG Mandalorian continues to trend down a little bit. It looks like it's trending around the $350 tier range, going back to there. Remember, it was $350, then $400, then $350, then $400, and here it is at around $350 again. You know, it's like seesaw, up and down. So you can see right here, back from May 14th, $364.99. You can pull up one right over here. Just coming back from May 16th as well, $339, basically $340, free shipping, not including the taxes. Okay, let's go ahead and go to another OG Mando. And you can see here, $353 on the same day, May 16th, with 16 bids, $353.61 for the OG Mandalorian. We're going to go ahead and take a look at exactly where he is on the market value chart in just a little bit as I scroll through a lot of these here. But he's somewhere around $350, $360 right now is where the average is for this OG Mandalorian. And at the end of the day, and this figure is probably going to go to around $350, and it's going to stay there. And, you know, as time goes on, and as that Blurrg sits in stock, you're going to see this go creep back up, $375, creep back up, $385, creep back up, $400, $405, maybe even all the way up to $429. Because when you're looking at some of these Han Solos, for instance, or Grand Moff Tarkins that are selling, it's very, very interesting. I just showed you earlier a $560 Han Solo. Okay? But you can go ahead, and if, like I said, if you have patience, you could find some deals. You know, for just $809.95, notice I said just $809.95, you can go ahead and get the 2-pack with Chewbacca. But at the end of the day, people are like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save some of the money. I know about the $150, the $175, the $200, the $250. And at the end of the day, I really believe that what you're looking at with this OG Mandalorian is, quite frankly, the same thing. That's what I think is going to happen, you know, with this figure. I really do believe that it will, you know, wind up creeping back up to around the $400 tier range, and that's where it's going to be. Because, again, you know, and that is an awesome set, the OG Mandalorian with the Blurrg, but it's going to cost you a pretty penny to go ahead and pick up that set retail-wise. And, you know, it's a really good option if you don't have the OG Mandalorian to get that. And quite honestly, I'm not getting the Blurrg because it doesn't fit in my collection. But if I didn't have an OG Mandalorian, I would maybe consider just going ahead and picking up that set, because I do think that that's going to be a pretty epic set. And, you know, I'd be like, for the extra money, I would just go ahead and pick up that set. But you're going to have some collectors that don't feel that way. It's kind of like if I didn't have the A New Hope Han, which I do, I would probably at this point just go ahead and pick up the 2-pack because it's a better deal. It's like two for, you know, it's a better deal. It's like when you go to the supermarket and get, you know, if you buy 2, you get 1 for free type of thing. But some collectors are just not doing that, folks, and that's my point with this. And that's why I think the OG Mandalorian all day long will eventually be a $400 tier range figure. So how is this particular figure doing? And that's also on the biggest mover section. And this figure jumped up to $300 right away. And I spoke about this in the last episode. And again, I think that this is going to be a slow riser, a slow burn. Is it possible that this Qui-Gon Jinn is going to hit to where Count Dooku and Director Krennic is? We're going to have to keep an eye on it. But actually, I'm going to go ahead and actually just say it right now. I'd say yes, it absolutely will, but it's not going to do it right now. I don't think it's going to do it this year. I think it could do it at some point next year, because this is absolutely a fabulous release by Hot Toys. I think that this is a great figure. It's actually one of my favorite figures. I love this figure and this Liam Neeson head sculpt. I just think it's fabulous. But when you go ahead and take a look at, let's actually pull up, speaking about Dooku and Krennic. You know, Dooku is trending up. We're going to take a look at exactly where he is within the secondary market when we get to the market value chart here in just a little bit, and we'll go ahead and go back to it. But you can see right here, back from May 15th, $479.36 with 23 bids. Real good feedback. Seller, not including the $23.14 in U.S. shipping, not including the taxes. This figure continually sells well into the mid $400 tier range and upwards of the $500 tier range for this figure. Many times in the $500 tier range for Dooku. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with Krennic. And Krennic is rising slightly as well. And you can see right here, back from May 15th, you know, $479.36, 28 bids. Another good seller here. 28 bids, not including the taxes, and near $25 in shipping. Let's go ahead and go to this Krennic. And this one here, again, you know, bringing this up, and this had 46 bids, $410. I hate to call this a bargain, but if you have some patience, you don't have to spend $450, $475, you know, $500 on Director Krennic or Count Dooku, to be quite frank with you. If you exercise some patience, sometimes you can find them for $410, and sometimes you can find them in the high $300 tier range too. If you really exercise some patience on eBay auctions and just have the patience there, or, you know, get involved in some of the buy-sell groups on Facebook or other places as well, you can find these from time to time that way. Again, exercise some patience. Don't be in such a rush with some of these figures that are fetching high prices. And what happens is when we exercise some patience and we hear that some other people got a deal, hey, I picked up a Krennic for, you know, $350, and this one says that. And then you're like, okay, great, looks like that's happening. And then a week goes by and nothing available. And then another week goes by and nothing available. And then, you know, a month goes by and nothing available. You know, this could absolutely happen sometimes, for sure. So, you know, don't fall like, I must have it right now, or I was really looking forward to it. Try and exercise that patience. And sometimes, a lot of times, one of the frustrations is, and I've felt it before, is you'll get a really super bargain. Like, let's say a New Hope Leia shows up on a buy-sell group on Facebook, and, you know, they're willing to do, you know, $300 and, you know, $25 shipped, everything. Wow. Okay, I'll go ahead and take that. Boom, 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 boom. They type back already committed to someone else. They went ahead and asked me 2 seconds ago. I'm like, you just put up the listing 3 minutes ago. That's how it happens sometimes. Sometimes you got to monitor these, almost like, you know, and it's hard to do, like you're monitoring these sideshow codes when they have in their events, and you're trying to hit it before, you know, it's used up all its usage or whatnot. But exercise some patience. Again, when we talked about this on the Man of Hot Collectibles live show this past Friday night, we were talking a little bit about the market value chart, and I really appreciate that he plugged 6scalecantina.com and the market value chart on there as well. But again, this is a valuable average. You can wind up paying more. You can wind up paying less. This gives you a general sense, but it's just like anything else. Shop around. Exercise some patience. Try and wait. It just gives you a general gauge as to what these things are going for. And then that way you have some kind of sense as to, what it is that you're looking at for sure. So let's go ahead and go back to the biggest movers section. And let me go ahead and pull this up on the screen. And I do have a lot of windows open as I'm going ahead and, recording this episode. So it's really crazy with some of these figures. They leave the biggest mover section, folks, and then they settle out, and sometimes they trend down and they settle down. They level out, and then they come back, and sometimes they come back dipping, like the Mudtrooper right here you see on the screen. We talked about that last week. There was a lot of hype around that figure, and that figure right now is trending down. And what I think is happening with some of these figures, like you're seeing here with the Incinerator Trooper, that's trending down. And you're seeing for the short term, I believe, this Royal Guard, which is trending down. I mean, if you don't have the Emperor, that's really what this figure really goes with for the most part. So, and the Emperor is just so high right now. But yeah, some of these figures are trending down. The OG Mandalorian, the Incinerator Trooper, the Royal Guard. And really what's happening here, Jinn Erso. What's happening is there's so many new Hot Toys that are coming out for Star Wars that there's only so much money to spread around. You can only draw so much blood from a stone. And I think with some of these trends that you're seeing is, you have to kind of, really budget out, okay, what's going on. Remember, they dropped five official releases for Star Wars just on May 4th. And the last year was just 2. It was just the 2 40th anniversary pieces. And is it possible that Hot Toys is going to drop more than 5 more Star Wars figures to put up on pre-order this year? And I say yes. And I actually think more than that. So, it's getting to the point where it's like you already have so many pre-orders up on there. And that also affects the secondary market as well. And sometimes in a positive way, if you're looking at it trend-wise going up, and sometimes in a negative way, they're going ahead and trending down because there's only so much of this that can go around. And really what you're seeing sometimes, even with some of these original trilogy figures and some of these legacy character figures, there are also, to factor in, a whole lot of collectors that are discovering Hot Toys. Remember, Star Wars is hot again. And all the sensation about The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Don't forget that Ahsoka series. Don't think people aren't excited about that upcoming Ahsoka series. Remember what that Clone Wars Ahsoka did to the internet. It absolutely broke the internet. Okay? And don't think that Ahsoka showing up on The Mandalorian, the hottest television show in a long time, that didn't break the internet too. So there is a lot of excitement because that is absolutely the best Ahsoka. The best Ahsokas that you can get, action figure-wise, for sure. So you're getting a lot of new collectors that are coming in. You're getting a lot of collectors that have sold, for instance, they're selling some lines, where maybe it's a line of this or a line of that. They're Black Series collections. And they're getting into Hot Toys. And sometimes when you get into Hot Toys, sometimes you want that foundation that Star Wars is built on. And sometimes you want A New Hope Han. And sometimes you want A New Hope Luke. And no matter how much negativity you hear about the head sculpts on that, it doesn't matter. I want A New Hope Han. I want A New Hope Luke. And that's part of it as well. So supply and demand. And that's actually a good thing for Hot Toys because that means that some of the pre-orders that they're going to put up, there's going to be more than just the collectors that have always been there and have been there and continue to buy. Now you're getting more of a population into the community that continues to come in. And as more demand for figures comes in, then, there is going to be more supply provided by who? Disney and Hot Toys. And the hotter Star Wars gets, the better it is for us. Okay? So that's where the dough is. And just like in Spaceballs and pizza is going to send out for you. So that's part of what is going on here for sure. And, going ahead and going down some of these, Commander Cody, heavy infantry Mandalorian continues to stay strong, strong, strong. The heavy infantry Mandalorian Commander Cody continues to stay strong as well, and they're inching up little by little. These figures continue to inch up within the secondary market. And let me tell you something, about this Cody. This is an absolutely phenomenal figure. And everything that you are going to be getting with this Captain Rex, I am telling you, there is a yellow alert on that Captain Rex because of how this figure is selling in the low $400 tier range already within the secondary market for Star Wars Hot Toys. When that Captain Rex gets out of stock or goes on waitlist in one way or another, it will have a higher and quicker trajectory to the $400 tier range than this Cody did, and it will start taking Cody with it into the mid $400 tier range, and quite possibly the $500 tier range, both of those figures at the end of the day, right there somewhere around the $450 range anyway. And this is an absolutely gorgeous figure. And there's a lot of things going on with Rex right now and different pointers and whether they're valid or they're not valid. You can use code suddenly. You can't use code suddenly. Well, this is what happens before a figure goes on waitlist. Well, wait a minute. No, that's happened before for a figure that didn't go on waitlist. At the end of the day, folks, here's what's going on with Captain Rex. He's in the Bad Batch. They're not making a Bad Batch Captain Rex. There is a double whammy here with this. It's like buying a car that's supercharged or has the turbo. This figure has a little bit of turbo in it and a little bit of supercharge. And that's what's going on with the Captain Rex. So you can go ahead and just take a look at what's going on with Cody. Is it possible that Captain Rex is going to sit in stock for as long as Cody, like 3 months? Sure. Do I personally think with the trends that it's going to sit in there for 90 days? Oh, Captain Rex in the Bad Batch. Oh, Captain Rex that goes so well with the $400 and rising Commander Cody. And if I was going to give you my honest market opinion, I say no. It's going to go out of stock faster. And always remember, with these red or yellow alerts, even if we're talking about like the IG-11 or even the Rey or the Kylo Ren, which we're going to get into in a minute, giving, them a red alert, this can go ahead. And it's very possible this could go ahead and hit waitlist before it gets in stock. It's also very possible it's going to get in stock. It's just an alert that, you can't sit on it. If IG-11 gets in stock, oh, that figure's going to do like the Incinerator Trooper. That was wrong. Or, oh, that Rex will never sell. It'll never go like Cody. Cody's going to go ahead and, go to 400. And that Rex is going to be like Luke Crate, right at 300. Sure, it's possible. But the numbers don't show that. And I'm telling you what the numbers show is quite the contrary. It's probably going to go the other way. So remember, whenever we give you a waitlist alert, it's not just about, oh, it's got to hit waitlist before it got in stock. Yeah, that is Spawn's conversation. And that's very, very interesting because you got this storm going on. It's very hard to predict. But at the end of the day, really what I'm telling you is it might not be in stock for more than a month. It might not be in stock for a few weeks. It might only be in stock for 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And 5 weeks, 6 weeks sounds like a whole lot of time. Oh, it's in stock. I'll get it. And then a week passes. Or you got a dentist appointment. Or you got this going on with your family. Or you got this at work. And then all of a sudden it's 3 weeks. And it's 4 weeks. Oh, I'll go ahead and I'm going to go. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. And that's what a yellow or red alert means. And I'm telling you right now, the way that this figure is going, it shows me that there is a potential with the Captain Rex, because as I pointed out before, there is not a, huge, there is a recipe for this Captain Rex to get out of stock quickly, because you can't just spruce up production like waving your magic wand, or like, Din Djarin said to Grogu, just do the magic hand thing, do the magic hand thing, do the magic hand thing, Hot Toys, go make 10,000 more Rexes because people want it. It's going to be in stock forever. Okay, yeah, we're going to do that. Look, everything eventually goes on waitlist, right? Like the Jet Troopers will go on waitlist. That's not the question. I already know I have a lot of time if I want a Jet Trooper, a Sith Trooper, or a regular Jet Trooper to get it. But you know what? There wasn't a whole lot of time on the heavy infantry Mandalorian. That went on waitlist very, very quickly. It didn't get in stock. The same thing with the Mudtrooper. There are certain pointers. There are certain numbers. Okay, there are certain possibilities that point towards a storm. That could mean that when you're talking about Rex, or you're talking about IG-11, or you're talking about the Scout Trooper with the bike, or you're talking about Rey, or you're talking about Kylo Ren, that these particular figures, that there is, perhaps a recipe for these figures, that it could turn out to be like the Mudtrooper. It could turn out to be like what happened with the heavy infantry Mandalorian. And when you look at, some of these figures, so for instance, you can go ahead and take a look at this Rey right now with this particular seller, and look at how many from overseas, 16 sold already at $409. Wow. Is there a demand for this Rey Skywalker? And I have some insider information that the production runs, not only on this Rey, but also on the Kylo Ren, were on the extremely low side. Now, that information could be false. Maybe they went ahead and made 20,000 of this Rey, like they did with, the best car Mandalorian, just for shipping, to Europe and the United States. Maybe that's what they did. Is it possible that they made 20,000 Kylo Rens to come to the U.S.? Sure, it's possible. Is it likely? No. And that's some of the insider information that I have been getting from a very reliable source. Okay? And I really think that the production numbers are very low, extremely low on Rey. And if you're looking at what's going on here, and you're looking at what Rey's doing within the secondary market, and you look at what Kylo is doing within the secondary market, and we all know how good this Kylo Ren was when it came out, and some of these reviews. Absolutely check out the Man of Hot Collectibles review on this Kylo Ren. And I believe that Dante from the Man of Hot Collectibles is going to be doing one on the Rey from Rise of Skywalker, perhaps later today on Monday. Take a look at that for, later tonight or tomorrow for that, review by him. And I could tell you, even, I told you the reviews that I've seen already, including from my video last week when, MRC Collection Ventures, his review of the Rey was outstanding. And all of his reviews are fantastic. And when you look at some of the other reviews on Rey's and some of the other unboxings, she is very, very good. And, you can go ahead and take a look at, just some of these. The Rey turned out very, very, very nice. And if that was really the question on, what are we going to do with Rey, you can see right now how folks are responding with Rey within the secondary market. And there is a demand. So is it possible that this Rey, or is it possible that this Kylo Ren is going to go ahead and hit waitlist before they get in stock? And again, I think there are certain variables that you have to consider before going ahead and making a guess on that. I do think it is very, very possible. And again, my insider information is telling me that the numbers on the Rey, the numbers of the Kylo, are extremely low, just like the Rey. But at the end of the day, I give these both a red alert. Red alert means that it's possible it'll go ahead and do what the heavy infantry Mandalorian's going to do, or what the Mudtrooper did, especially because of the way that the Solo movie was received, and that's how that figure went. Well, how are all the sequels received, and what's going on here right now, and how did Hot Toys? How many of the Mudtrooper did they make, and really how many of this Kylo or the Rey are they going to make? Go ahead and put 2 and 2 together, and you can go ahead and come up with a pretty interesting hypothesis. Is it possible these will get in stock? There is a great percentage that they both will. But the point is if they do, they're not going to sit in there for forever and a day. So it's just an alert that they're not going to be in there long. It's possible, just like predicting where a hurricane goes. It might land on this town. It didn't land. It went the other way. Okay. It's still what it is. And you still make preparations. And the preparations is, if you think that this figure or that Rey is going to sit in stock for 3 or 4 or 5 months, it absolutely is not. Again, alerts on those for sure. And when you go ahead and take a look again at this Captain Rex, it has some peculiarities to it with the whole Bad Batch thing that make it very, very interesting to me. So I give this a yellow alert. And let me tell you, this figure's no joke. When you pull this up on the screen, how sweet is this figure, folks? With everything that you get with this. And I can't wait to get my hands on this. And if you're planning on getting this figure, and you have it budgeted for this figure, and sometimes you're like me and you're going to wait till it gets in stock, use some coupons or whatnot, you may want to think twice on this one, because you're playing with fire on this for sure. So let's go ahead and go to the market value chart, and let's go ahead and make that the final segment for today, and just look at some of the figures we haven't talked about and just see where the trends are. And again, I've already mentioned it, but hit that current value column a couple of times every time you go back to it, so you get the highest ranked figures to the lowest ranked figures, so it's easier to navigate. So you see the Tarkin Invader, we talked about that earlier, $840, and the Tarkin Invader, $840. The Han and the Chewie, $900, and you saw that $800 listing or auction, the auction I was showing you before for the Han and Chewie. And just because the average is 900, it sells in the thousands. It also sells in 800s, but yet people still want Han Solo. By himself, sometimes in the $600 tier range, and well into the $600 tier range. Crazy. Emperor Deluxe, $633 and rising. K2SO, $629 and rising. Anakin, Revenge of the Sith, $615 and rising. Going back to Darkside Anakin, $796 and rising. Is it possible that we will get enough data and this figure will enter the $800 tier range? You have to wonder. Jinn Erso, $583 and going down. Will that continue to go down? We'll have to keep an eye on it. Grand Moff Tarkin going up, $566. Talked about a lot of these before. Obi-Wan Deluxe, continues to trend up. We're going to keep an eye on him. Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope, again, $535 and rising. We talked a lot about these original trilogy ones before, bringing up just Chirrut Deluxe. Entered the $500 tier range last week, $505 and rising. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other ones we didn't, talk about yet. Heavy Infantry Mandalorian, $444 and rising. Is it possible this figure will get to $450? I say yes, it will. Count Dooku, now at $438 and rising. Wow. Absolutely crazy. Leia ESB Hoth, $428 and rising. Commander Cody at $402. That Kylo Ren, we were just talking about Kylo Ren, $401 and rising. Yeah, absolutely crazy. We already went over some of these OT ones that are in there. There's your Darth Vader from The Empire Strikes Back, $350 again. We already showed that. The Vader from ESB, $337 and steady. Will that rise? I say yes. Yoda Attack of the Clones, $334 and rising. There's your Royal Guard dipping down to $334 and trending down. Rey and BB-8 trending up, $333. Mudtrooper trending down, $330. Wow. Loot Crate, $306 and rising. Qui-Gon Jinn, like I said, $300. Will this figure go ahead and get to the $320, $325 range? I believe it will. And then it'll be a slow rise up throughout the year and to the end of the year. Yeah, so let's go ahead. And we'll go ahead and end it here, folks. So, to go ahead and hit that like button if you enjoyed the content. And please go ahead and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. I so very much appreciate your support. Please continue to spread the word around about the Market Value Chart Show and 6scalecantina.com. Again, your support is very much appreciated. And as I said in the onset of the show, I would love to hang out with you guys this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. I cannot wait to have this live show, and we'll have some special guests, and I'm really looking forward for you all being on there, and we will certainly have the Man of Hot Collectibles on this show. I got the link to the Man of Hot Collectibles within the video description below. We're also going to go ahead and have Desi. We're going to have Desi back from Metamorphic Customs. We went ahead and showed off some of his dioramas, some of his great artwork. And unfortunately, I had to take that video down, so some of you didn't get to see it. You're going to see it again. Again, this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Really looking forward to it. The Market Value Chart Show live. Please go ahead and follow us on our Facebook group, which is absolutely exploding. It's a great place where we talk about everything Star Wars and all the Star Wars hot toys talk that I serve up. I got the link to the Facebook group within the video description below, along with the Instagram, along with the Discord group that I belong to. You want to go ahead and join that as well. Remember, many of the truths we cling to depend greatly on our own point of view. Stay positive.